The Wolf and the Starborn. The smoke from burning outposts clung to Elias Korran's lungs as he trudged through the rubble of what used to be a Lycan command den. His pulse rifle hung loose in his grip, finger off the trigger now that the shooting had stopped. Around him, the rest of Second Squad fanned out, clearing rooms and tagging corpses. The battle for New Arcadia Colony was over, for now. Humanity had taken this sector, but the cost was written in the craters and the silence. Elias was a medic first, Marine second, though years of war had blurred the line. At 27, he had seen more blood than a surgeon and more death than a priest. The Lycans, once feral beasts of ancient Earth myth, had become something far worse. 400 years ago, they left their ruined homeworld after losing a planetary war to vampires. Now they roamed the stars, rebuilding in the void. And when humanity expanded too far into their claimed systems, the wolves bared their fangs again. They could shift at will, human form for diplomacy, beast form for battle. They were faster, stronger, and cunning enough to make human generals lose sleep. "Clear in here," shouted Private Dane Weller, Elias's closest friend, a big-shouldered joker from Chicago who cracked bad one-liners even when mortars fell. Elias nodded and moved deeper into the bunker. Sergeant Holt Varon had ordered a full sweep. No survivors, no surprises. Intel said the Lycan pack leader had operated from this position. If they could find his data cores or comms logs, maybe they could prevent the next slaughter. He found the storage chamber half collapsed, dimly lit by flickering lamps. Crates lay toppled, filled with med kits labeled in the sharp glyphs of Lycan script. He was about to mark it clear when he heard it. A sound. Small. Fragile. A whimper. Elias froze. He killed his light, letting his eyes adjust. Something moved behind a shattered crate. His instincts screamed for backup. But his medic's heart, that stubborn thing still beating under all the armor, told him to wait, to listen. He approached slowly, rifle lowered. "Don't move," he said softly. His translator implant rendered his words into the guttural tones of Lycan speak. "I'm not here to hurt you." The shape emerged. A child. A small girl, half the size of an adult Lycan, her fur mottled silver gray and her amber eyes wide with terror. One arm hung limp against her body, bent at a wrong angle. Broken, Elias thought. Simple fracture. He had never seen a Lycan pup before. Didn't even know they brought them into war zones. Her tunic was torn, dust-covered, her lips pulled back in a soundless whine. "It's okay," Elias murmured, setting his rifle aside. "I'm a medic. I help people who are hurt." Footsteps echoed behind him. "Korran, you find something." Dane's voice. Elias turned quickly. "Nothing, just supplies. I'm checking for usable meds. Make it fast, we're pulling out in 5. Elias waited until the footsteps faded, then turned back to the child. Her ears were flat, her breathing shallow, terror barely held in check. "What's your name?" he whispered. Her translator collar flickered to life. "Lyra," she said in halting English. "I'm Elias." He knelt, pulling a pain injector from his kit. "This will help your arm. Don't be scared." She didn't flinch when he injected her. Brave, he thought. Too brave. He set the bone, splinted it using both Terran and Lycan field supplies. Then he faced the harder question. What now? He couldn't take her. Couldn't leave her either. Command would never tolerate a Lycan survivor, not after what they'd done to Europa Base last year. "My mother told me to hide," Lyra whispered. She was here when the fire came. Elias's stomach sank. He'd seen too many Lycan corpses in the upper hall. One could have been her. "Listen to me," he said. "Follow the river tunnels east. Stay low. Your people are that way. Tell them you came from Den 7. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. Elias paused. "Because you're just a kid. This war isn't your fault." He packed her food, water, and a portable light. Then, before leaving, he marked the door with a demolition tag, ensuring no other squad would enter for 72 hours. 5 minutes later, he walked out into daylight, his heart heavier than his armor. He had no idea that moment of mercy would change the entire course of his life. 3 months later, Lieutenant Elias Korran served aboard the TSS Valor, a Terran destroyer patrolling contested space. The Lycans had shifted tactics, hit-and-fade raids, silent infiltration strikes. The galaxy had turned into a chessboard made of ashes. Then one day, the call came. Lieutenant Korran to the bridge. He arrived to find Captain Helena Strain and her crew standing around a holo display. A message blinked on screen, encrypted using Lycan military codes, fresh, no more than 3 days old. "It's addressed to you," Strain said grimly. "What? That's impossible." Amy Kova, the communications officer, brought the image to life. A Lycan woman appeared, tall, elegant, with obsidian hair and eyes that burned like suns. Her voice rolled through the speakers, translated into perfect English. "I am Commander Alara Varen of the Lycan Dominion. 3 months ago, on your world New Arcadia, you spared a child. Her name is Lyra. My daughter. You treated her wounds and sent her to safety when your orders were to kill. I am bound by our law of the blood oath to repay the debt of life. I possess intelligence that can save thousands of your kind. I will give it only to you, and only in person." Coordinates flashed. Outpost Erebus, an abandoned mining station in neutral space. Strain folded her arms. "If this is a trap, it's elaborate." Elias stared at the screen, heart pounding. "She's real. I saw the child." "Then it seems your mercy has earned you an invitation from the enemy," Strain said. "Prepare a security team, you're going." Outpost Erebus floated dead and hollow, a skeleton of steel in orbit around a dying star. The shuttle docked quietly, its crew on edge. Elias's team fanned out. Dane, Chief Weller, Amy, and 2 security officers. Weapons ready. When she appeared, she was everything the rumors whispered. Alara Varen, the Wolf General, conqueror of Epsilon Ridge. She walked between 2 armed guards, her daughter clutching her hand. Lyra looked up, eyes bright. "Mother, that's him. The human who helped me." Alara inclined her head. "Lieutenant Korran, you came." I couldn't ignore the message. She stepped closer, pulling from her belt a small crystalline drive. "This contains Dominion attack routes for the next 6 months. I give it freely. You saved my bloodline. I now save yours." Elias hesitated. "Why betray your own?" "I honor the law of the blood oath," she said. "A life for a life. Until I have saved yours, the debt remains unpaid." When he took the drive, their hands brushed, warm and alive. "Then what now?" "I seek asylum," Alara said. "Assign me as liaison to your command. Keep my daughter as your ward if you must, but let me serve beside you until the debt is complete." "Captain Strain will never agree." "Then convince her." They did. Reluctantly. Alara became a tactical consultant aboard the Valor. Her data proved flawless. She prevented 3 ambushes, intercepted coded transmissions, and saved entire colonies. Slowly, the crew's distrust gave way to cautious respect. She worked tirelessly, never sleeping more than 2 hours, always under guard. Elias spent his days at her side, translating Lycan fleet logic into human strategy. "You still don't trust me," she said one night. "I want to," he admitted. "But you're unpredictable." Alara smiled faintly. "We Lycans are creatures of instinct, but our instincts can serve honor, not hunger." Then softer, "You are not like other humans. You looked at a wolf and saw a child." "And you," Elias said, "looked at an enemy and saw a medic." Weeks later, intelligence revealed a horrifying truth. Rogue factions in both armies planned to sabotage peace talks on Haven's Gate Station, killing diplomats from both sides to reignite the war. Alara's claws clenched. They will slaughter innocents to keep power. Strain looked at Elias. "Can we trust her intel?" "Yes," he said without hesitation. "We go." Quietly. The Valor launched a stealth shuttle with 6 aboard: Elias, Alara, Dane, Amy, and 2 security officers. Their mission: stop the bombs, expose the traitors. They found the explosives, Lycan tech wired to human detonators, a hybrid device designed by both species. Then came the ambush: 6 conspirators, 3 human, 3 Lycan. Colonel Victor Kane of Earth led them. "Peace is weakness," he sneered. "War is our destiny." The shot came before Elias could blink, a flash of plasma. Alara moved faster than light, threw herself in front of him. The bolt hit her chest, burning deep. She fell, whispering through blood, "The debt repaid." Elias caught her, his hands slick with crimson. "No, you're not dying here." He and his team fought back, detonating the bombs harmlessly, subduing the conspirators. The peace summit was saved. But Alara lay dying in his arms. "You can tell Lyra yourself," Elias whispered. "Just hold on." Alara lived. Barely. Her redundant Lycan organs and Elias's frantic care saved her. The peace accord succeeded. A ceasefire was declared. Months later, Elias, Alara, and Lyra were reassigned to Unity Station, the joint colony between humans and Lycans, built on the ruins of Haven's Gate. One evening, they stood by the viewport, watching the twin suns rise over the new world. "You never wanted a debt repaid," Alara said softly. "No," Elias answered. I just didn't want another child to die. Alara smiled, the kind only a soldier and a mother could. Then perhaps this isn't debt repaid at all. Perhaps it's family found. Lyra ran into the room laughing, chased by Dane. Uncle Elias, come play. Elias smiled. See, even wolves can learn to laugh. The war was over, for now. But in the heart of the galaxy, a medic's mercy had tamed a wolf, and a new family had been born under the stars. Unity Station woke to music instead of alarms, a small miracle in a galaxy that had learned to sleep with one eye open. The paired suns of Haven's Gate spilled gold through the broad atrium windows, painting the angled metal in honey. Alara stood beside Elias on the viewing deck in her formal black, the fabric cut to accommodate either form, sinewed human or wolf. She had chosen human today. It mattered to the eyes that would watch. You look like command, he said. She brushed an imaginary fleck from her sleeve. I prefer the word responsible. Same burden, better word. Below them, the dedication ceremony began. A human choir and a Lycan howl circle traded anthem and long note keening, voices weaving a harmony neither side would have invented alone. Children clustered at the front, craning for a better look at the ambassadors. Lyra waved up at her mother. Alara's face softened, the way it only did for one person. Captain Strain stepped to the dais. We dedicate Unity Station to the living and to the lost, she said. To the stubborn hope that dragged us from trenches to tables. The blast came like a swallowed thunderclap, too soft for a bomb, too sharp for a system fault. The glass in the western promenade whited out, bowed, then spidered with a sound like ice cracking across a lake. For a breath there was only silence, then the scream of pressure doors, the slam of blast shields, and the rip of shouted orders. Alara had Elias on the floor before he registered moving. Stay, she hissed. Not command but instinct, and launched herself across the deck, body already reshaping, bones shortened and regnate with a wet, precise sound, fur spilled along her spine, the wolf hit steel running. Elias was up a heartbeat later, pack already open. Kova, I need a grid on compromised sections. On it, Amy's voice snapped over comms. Localized breach, West Promenade Segment C, not hull, decorative blast panes, minimal decompression, heat flash first, then concussion. Incendiary, Elias said, feet pounding down the stairwell. Crowd control, not mass casualty. Or a message, Alara growled over the line, her voice roughened by the muzzle. Dane's voice cut in, breathless and already joking. Good morning, Unity. Free fireworks for the ribbon cutting. Weller, Strain said, cool as vacuum, contain and calm. Korran triage, Commander Varen, hunt. They reached the promenade within 90 seconds. The world smelled like ozone and scorched polymer. Confetti drifted down with gray ash, festive and obscene. Elias hit the injured with efficient tenderness. Airway, breathing, circulation, clip and seal, move and handoff. He counted the living with his hands. It steadied him. Alara prowled the blast point. The scent signature was wrong for human plasticizer and wrong for Lycan sap gel. Something sweet threaded the burn like a flower pressed in old paper. She found the device's belly, a curved shard fused to the hinge of a maintenance grate. Amy's drones whirred in hard light arcs above her head, mapping. Well, Strain said, arriving at a paced run. Alara held the shard to the light. It was black and glossy as pooled night, a material that absorbed illumination like thirst. This is not ours, and not yours, she said quietly. What then? Elias asked. Alara met his eyes. Old enemies, new tricks. Vampires, Dane said, half laughing, then stopped when no one else did. Alara didn't answer. She didn't need to. Because etched into the underside of the shard, half melted by its own heat, was the sigil of a court long-thought dust, a perfect circle crossed by a single needle of light. The mark of the nocturn. The investigation began with polite memos and ended with boots and vents. Unity Station was a marvel, but it was still a machine, and every machine has caverns where light doesn't go. Amy fed schematics into a swarm of palm-sized drones that flickered like curious minnows through the oxygen garden's fans. Alara ran point on scent and pattern, reading scuffs and grating and scratches on bulkhead screws like lines of a book. They leveraged Black Market 02, Amy reported, astonished at her own findings. Tapped a private collector line to move heat without triggering the public grid. Who has a private collector? Elias asked, following Alara along a catwalk that smelled of wet copper. Anyone with favors to call in and no patience for ration math, Dane said. Or smugglers. Or priests, Alara added. Elias frowned. We don't have priests. Everyone has priests, she said. Sometimes they just wear different hats. They found the tap behind a freestanding mural near the garden's outer ring. An abstract piece commissioned from a young human painter and a Lycan claw carver, all knives in color. The line was clever, and it had a story. People don't look past stories. Alara ran a claw along the conduit, then pressed her nose to the seam. Clove, she said. Star anise, burned resin. Amy's voice tightened. Scent masking. That's old nocturn holy oil chemistry, Elias. It's in the archives as ritual scent. Pre-war. Pre-which war? Dane asked. Amy said. They followed the line into a maintenance corridor and then into a crawl space. Elias hated crawl spaces. They always smelled like dust and decisions. Stop, Alara said suddenly. Hand up. She pointed at a faint shimmer halfway down the shaft, a monofilament trap strung where only a half-turned head would catch it. Charming, Dane murmured. He palmed a microclip from his belt, leaned in slow, and bridged the filament with a safer loop. It hummed, sulked, and went dark. Beyond the trap lay a small pressure-closet-turned shrine, a circle of melted black glass, a dangling ring of metal stamped with the broken crescent, Kane's old hardliner symbol, nested inside the nocturne circle like a parasite wearing pearls. 2 beliefs, 1 rot. Elias touched the edge of the glass. It was warm, recently used. They're in bed together, he said softly. Kane's people and the nocturne, or Kane's dead believers found new scripture, Alara said. Faith makes excellent kindling. Amy's drone peeped. Side passage, east, motion. They pivoted as one. A shadow bolted. Small, quick, desperate. Alara didn't shift, she ran human fast, which for her was still a blur. Elias cut left, Dane cut right. Amy killed the corridor lights in front of the runner and flooded them behind, a cheap trick that makes the body choose wrong. They boxed the figure at a dead end, a thin human in station grays, grease on his palms, fear in his every nerve. 17, maybe. He lifted both hands, shaking. I didn't know it was a bomb, he said, words a tumble. They said it was a purification flare, just smoke. Elias stepped in gently. What's your name? Relo, he said. Relo Petras, maintenance. I cleaned ducts. They gave me credit and food and said people would see, and Alara's voice was soft steel. Who are they, Relo? He swallowed. The chapel, under Ring 6. They pray to the dark that watches. They said the wolves and the sunslayers would tear us apart unless we made the station choose. Amy exhaled. Sunslayers, nocturne slang for humans. So the message worked, Dane muttered. Someone noticed. Rilo's eyes skittered from face to face and landed on Alara, caught, held. You're one of them, he whispered. And then, like a child seeing a storybook live, but you came first. You ran toward it. Alara did not look away. I run toward what must be stopped, she said. That includes my own when they err, and yours, and the night between. He started to cry, a sound like a pipe beginning to fail. I don't want to go to the black, he said. I don't want to disappear. Elias put a hand on his shoulder. Then you don't, he said. You help us instead. Behind them, the shrine's glass ring caught the light and didn't reflect it back. The interrogation room on Unity Station was built to look like a conversation room. Warm walls, a table with rounded corners, water that tasted like citrus peel. It fooled almost no one, but it did ease them. Relo talked in spirals, the way the guilty do when they're not sure if they're monsters or fools. Between loops, a map emerged. Someone called the Vicar ran prayer gatherings off shift, incense that smelled like clove and star anise burned in a bowl of black sand. Homilies braided phrases from Kane's manifestos with old nocturne liturgy. The world was described as a candle under 2 predatory winds, the wolf and the sun, and the only hope was to praise the night that would put both to rest. It's a death cult, Amy said flatly. Rilo flinched. They said the flare was a warning, a sign. No one was supposed to be hurt. People were hurt, Elias said, not unkind. That matters more than what was supposed to happen. Alara stood with her palms on the back of a chair, weight forward, eyes distant. When she spoke, her voice had the low rasp the wolf leaves behind. Where do the letters come from? Relo blinked. Letters? You called the sermons letters from the dark? Are they delivered? He nodded, miserable. Pneumatic tube, no sender tag, but the envelopes are wax sealed. The seal is. Amy pulled a photo from a file of the sigil they'd found in the crawl space. Relo shuddered. Yes, that. Kane is dead, Strain said, arms folded. We watched him bleed on tiled floor, his circle fractured. Faith is stubborn, Alara murmured. It grows back differently. Amy set a data pad on the table. We traced the pneumatic tube network. Most are sealed, logged, official. But there's a dead branch that shouldn't exist. It's ancient, pre-refit, buried under Cargo 2. She tapped a schematic. Goes to a dock that's been marked unsafe since the rebuild. Unsafe as in we hope no one looks, Dane said. Strain nodded once. Take a team, quiet. If this links to the Nocturn, I want proof, not rumors. They moved fast because speed is a kind of mercy. Cargo 2 had the familiar smell of storage, oil, canvas, old promises. Amy found the false panel by looking for dust that behaved too well. Dane levered it open with a grin like a locksmith at a party. The tube's end chamber waited in a pocket of forgotten air. On a bench, candles, black wax, a ceiling die carved with the broken crescent nested in the nocturne circle, a stack of pre-printed homilies folded in thirds, and a small, elegant case the color of midnight. Elias flipped the clasps and opened it like a prayer. Inside, thin sheets of black glass etched with microscopic script, nocturne blood glyphs and human shorthand fused into something new. Amy's breath hitched. These aren't printed. They're grown, like the old court archives. You seed a matrix with a key and a drop of... She cut herself off, but they all heard the word. Blood. Alara's attention fixed on a different detail. On the lid's inside sat a calling card, old-fashioned, with a single line of text in a serif font that pretended to be shy. When the night arrives, speak sweetly. We were civil, once. L4. Dane ventured. Not Lycan, Alara said distant. Nocturne names run long and liquid. Their first letters are a mask, L. She tasted it like a memory she'd rather spit. Lazuli, or Lucerne, or... Footsteps echoed behind them, too soft for boots, too confident for fear. They turned as one. 3 figures stood at the chamber mouth. They wore travel black and diplomatic calm, and the air around them had that faint, impossible cold of rooms where the windows don't face space, but something colder. The woman in front smiled without showing teeth. Her voice was velvet drawn over glass. Forgive the trespass, she said. We knocked, but your station forgot how to answer. May I introduce the Nocturne envoy? We bring apologies for a regrettable misunderstanding and a proposal for peace. Alara moved without seeming to. Elias felt his heart kick and keep kicking, because the envoy's eyes were the color of a gemstone he had only seen in museums. Deep, blue, dangerous. Lady Lazuli, Alara said quietly, I wondered which mask you'd choose. Lazuli inclined her head. Commander Varen, you ran very far and very fast, and yet here we are, together again, between teeth and light. She looked to Elias then, assessing, curious, as if cataloging a creature that had learned a new trick. And you, Lazuli said gently, must be the medic who taught a wolf to pray differently. She smiled properly this time, and it was beautiful in the way of avalanches. Shall we talk? She said, before your children burn our chapel, or we burn your station learning why you built it so badly.